now and again, it's a really good idea to challenge yourself, isn't it? Because you always need something to work towards. And in my younger days, I used to do sort of things like half marathons. And if you know anything about my content, I don't really recommend stuff like long distance running, and it doesn't serve me anymore. So I was looking for another challenge, and I found one in, would you believe it, Men's Health. So it's a challenge that's titled, How Strong Are You Really? So I couldn't resist it, and it's got a series of challenges that you need to undertake to test how strong you are, and I wanted to test how strong I am. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you, if you're a woman over 40 or like me, over 50, 60, 70, it doesn't really matter, to get in amazing shape, because you absolutely can at any age if you put your mind to it. And one of the things that's going to really help you with that is if you've got a goal to work towards. And so having some kind of challenge, having some sort of physical challenges that you want to work towards, especially sort of stuff like body weight exercises, key lifts, that sort of thing, it can be really good to kind of write them down, make a note of them, and actually try to work your way towards them. So in the past, I kind of wanted to do a full dip, full pull-up, and I can kind of do those now. So I was looking for something that was a bit higher level, a bit more of a challenge. So I found this article in Men's Health, and it's actually the UK Men's Health. So everything tends to be in sort of meters and kilos and that sort of thing, but I will try and give conversions so you can actually know exactly what that means if you're in the USA and you kind of work in Imperial, so you can see what that's all about. Let's get into it with the first challenge. So the first challenge was the deadlift. And that's a real test, isn't it? A deadlift, to know your strength, to know where you are. I did actually try to record this, but it didn't come out very well. So I'm going to take you through exactly how I did it. And what you want to do is only one rep at 200% of your body weight. That's what the goal is. My body weight is 55 kilos, which is around about 121 pounds. So if I was gonna lift 200% of my body weight, it's going to be 110 kilos. Well, I can tell you now that I've never deadlifted more than 100 kilos, so not quite 200% of my body weight. So 100 kilos is 220 pounds. So that was my goal, and this is how I got on. So the first lift that I came to was kind of well within my reach. I started off at 70 kilos doing 5 reps. So that's what you want to do when you're going for these big lifts. You're not obviously going to start right at the top end of the lift. You're going to start off by kind of warming up your body. So I started off on 70 kilos, got 5 reps in, then moved to 80 kilos, got in 5 reps at 80 kilos. So that was absolutely fine. Then I moved to 90 kilos, and because I was kind of getting quite near to what my kind of maximum, I know my maximum strength is, I decided to sort of drop it down to just doing 1 rep, because that's the goal, is to do 1 rep at the maximum weight. So I attempted 90 kilos at 198 pounds, and I was really happy with that because I managed to do that. Form wasn't absolutely brilliant, but at least I managed to do that. Then I upped the weight to 100 kilos. And unfortunately, as you can see here, I didn't get the lift, which is such a shame. But, you know, it's something that I can work towards. So what I ended up as my 1 rep max was lost 90 kilos, which is 198 pounds. And that's 165% of my weight, so nowhere near the 200%. But in all honesty, I was pretty pleased with that lift because I don't do a standard deadlift. I wasn't doing a standard deadlift there. I was actually doing a sumo deadlift, but I don't tend to do standard deadlifts. I do RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. So I'm not practicing those every week. So I was actually pretty pleased with that lift. Next, I moved on to the windmill challenge. The windmill challenge is when you kind of hold a kettlebell and you're going to kind of lean over, and you'll see it in this video. It's going to be quite hard on your whole body. It challenges your flexibility and the strength. And for this, I took a 10 kilo dumbbell. Now, you're actually meant to lift 33% of your body weight. I didn't get anywhere near that because I actually found this really challenging and I've never done it before. And actually what I got to was around about 20% of my body weight, I think. Not even that. So a lot of room for improvement. Definitely one I would want to practice in the future. The next challenge was the push-up, or we call them press-ups in the UK, challenge. And in Men's Health, it says to do 40 of those. That's the goal. Now, I feel I'm quite strong at this. I've got a strong chest. I actually do a lot of bench press, and I've been doing push-ups for years. I've been able to do them. So, and I do have a workout that I do where sometimes I do 100 push-ups. Now, I don't do them all in one go. I could sort of do about 30 in a row. So I had quite high hopes for this. So let's see how I got on. So as you can see there, I actually got to 30 push-ups, which I was kind of slightly disappointed about because I'm going to show you now. But Ken actually did 40. I really felt that if I'd have gone after Ken had gone or done it at the same time, I might have got maybe 5 more out. So that's something for me to work towards in the future. The next challenge was another one that I feel I could be pretty strong on, and that is the dead hang pull-up. So that's an unassisted pull-up, but what you actually have to do is hang at the bottom of the movement. I was pretty confident, you know, I can get at least 10 standard pull-ups out. So I was thinking, well, I'm going to be able to do quite a few of the dead hang pull-ups. So that's where you get all the way down to the bottom of the movement and then you move back up again. So how many did I do? Well, you can see here, I actually did 9. So I was pretty happy with that because just to do one of those is actually pretty difficult because it's a really strict pull-up where you're not actually using any momentum or anything. You do need to be pretty strong to do that. Okay, so there needed to be an endurance challenge that was kind of a strength challenge as well. And what they describe it in Men's Health is a ruck. And what a ruck is walking with weight on your back. Now, they recommended that it was 16 kilos. 16 kilos is about 35 pounds, which I just think that's way too heavy because obviously that's a man. And so what I did is I did it with 9 kilos, and let's just see how I got on. I'm about to start my next challenge, and this one's really tough for me because it's an endurance plus strength challenge. It's called a ruck walk in Men's Health, but it's basically a walk with weight, and I've got my weighted vest. Now over 6 kilometres, which is about 3.5 miles, I think. It's actually over the maximum that I would normally do. So I'm starting to get a bit fatigued. I've got this beautiful scenery here. The weight is starting to weigh me down a little bit, to be quite honest. I've just paused just to make this little clip, then I'm going to kind of carry on. I've finished the 10 kilometres. It took me 1 hour and 41 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I didn't reach the target of 1 hour and 30 minutes. I did it with 9 kilos, which is almost 20 pounds. It's like 19.5 pounds. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I've now got a really sore ankle. I have been suffering with my ankle about a week ago, so I stopped walking, but because of the distance, it kind of brings on a lot of niggles that you might have. So I certainly wouldn't do that on a regular basis. I'd keep it down to sort of 5 kilometers, which is kind of 3.5 miles. But I'm pretty pleased because endurance is actually my weakness. I did quite well. It's not as hard as running, I have to say. So that's completely why I tend to walk with a weighted vest, because it's not as taxing on the body as running and it's not as jarring. It's low impact. You can go, as I've experienced, you can go for a long time. I am starting to experience a little bit of achiness on my shoulder. I think a weighted vest is better than using a rucksack because it distributes the weight evenly. So if you are going to do this, that's what I would recommend. Do it with a weighted vest, not a rucksack, if you can help it, because then that's going to mean that the weight is really kind of carrying in one place and you're likely to maybe get an injury or lots of aches and pains following it. In all honesty, I was pretty pleased with that weighted vest walk, and what you got to remember is I've been doing kind of half that distance anyway before the challenge. Had good old practice at it. I didn't get to the hour and 30 minutes, but I was really happy with the hour and 40 minutes. So my next challenge is a jump, and this one's a double jump. So I got to jump once and then twice, and then I'll kind of measure it and see how far I've jumped. I've never actually done this before, so I'm just going to see how I get on. Just jump and then measure it. Right, so I'm just going to mark where I've landed. 3.9 meters, is it? So it's 3.9 meters, which is 12 foot and 15 inches. So I've got to make a note of that. 3.9 meters, 12 foot, 15 inches. And I think on the challenge, it said you need to be able to do 3.5 meters. So I'm pretty pleased with that. That's like, I've done the challenge, which I've actually got a bad ankle as well. So I'm all right doing things forward, but sort of twisting from side to side would be a bit of a problem, but I'm pretty pleased with that. So the next challenge is a medicine ball throw. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be throwing it over here, and I've got a twist and throw it. This one, you're meant to actually be able to throw it quite far. It also says to do 16 kilos, which is kind of about 35 pounds. And for somebody my size, I'm taking a lower weight, which is 9 kilos. So that's about 20 pounds. That's enough for me, I think. You've just got to bear in mind that some of these things in men's health, they're designed for somebody that's like a lot heavier. And so you need to take the weight that's appropriate for your weight and size. So I've just got to pick up the ball. Got to be very careful because my ankle's a bit shot at the moment. I'll just throw it. Not brilliant. So I'm just going to measure that now. So it's 5 meters, which is 15 feet. Now I think the goal was to do something like 12 meters. I have to check that out. But I've also actually got to do it from the other side. Oh, that was a shocker. that I need to work on my technique, don't I? So that was 48 meters, just over 16 feet. So not brilliant. I need to work on that one. I could just feel my technique. You could probably see it was all over the place. That's literally something that's completely out of my comfort zone. So something I need to kind of practice and work on. Finally, the final challenge was something called shuttle sprints. But over the last 3 weeks, I've actually been carrying an ankle injury that was really exacerbated by that weighted vest walk, and I'm just not recovering from it. So really disappointed because I feel like that would probably be one of my strong points as well, that I couldn't do the shuttle sprints, which that's kind of going backwards and forwards between cones. But the way that my ankle is now, I just wouldn't be up to it and probably would cause a lot more damage. So I do need to wait until that's better, and then I'll probably do it later on when I know my ankle is completely healed. So do let me know in the comments section whether you enjoyed watching that challenge and whether you want me to make videos with more challenges. Maybe you've got a suggestion of something that you want me to try. To be honest, I don't really want to try endurance challenges, because really what this channel is about is actually improving your strength, not endurance. Because endurance activity, if you're going to do it over long periods of time, like that 10k walk, that was kind of a one-off for me, and I don't normally go that kind of distance because too much cardio is actually really detrimental for women over 40, because what it does, it actually destroys your metabolism and it makes your metabolism worse, with the exception of walking. But you know, I don't normally go out for any more than an hour. Probably it's more like 40 minutes most of the time. But if there are any other challenges that you've seen that you'd love me to take part in, do let me know and I'll have a look at it. I can't make any promises, but you know, I do find them really, really helpful for just keeping you going and having less focus on your aesthetic progress, more actually measuring yourself on other markers that are going to kind of improve your overall fitness and your overall health.